1 John 4 says God is love. Very important verb choice. He didn't say God has love. If he had love, he might not have love. But he uses the verb is, the state of isness, the state of being, the part of you that cannot be changed. God is love. And he has therefore made us a promise in Romans 8:28 that all things will work together for good to those that love God and are called according to his purposes. This is true even for the worst choice that a man ever made in all history. A choice that's worse than the one Adam made. 2,000 years ago, my friends, Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. He had healed the sick, raised the dead, fed the poor, heralded the kingdom of God, and proclaimed that in him there would be forgiveness of sins and life eternal. The people hailed him as the Messiah. But at that point, the Jewish leadership got a little envious. Have you ever read John 11? They said there that this man does miracles. Did you hear that? Unbelieving, rebellious men admit that miracles were being done. These are not his followers. These are people who hate him. And they say miracles are being done. And the problem is for us, if we let him keep doing what he's doing, all Israel will believe in him. I kind of thought that was the idea. But the key is in their next phrase. We'll be out of a job. My friends, do you know what really killed Jesus? It was job security. And so they held an illegal trial, trumped up false charges against him that he was inciting rebellion against Rome, turned him over to Rome for permission to have him crucified. The problem is the Roman governor found him innocent of all charges. But the Sanhedrin continued to stir up the people, and Pilate was afraid of a riot. If he could not govern well, he'd be out of a job. So he realized there was a custom in Israel where they would release one prisoner every year. And so coming up with an idea, he made a choice, and the choice was offered the crowd, Jesus or Barabbas. Barabbas, this text says, was an insurrectionist, a murderer, and a thief. The choice before them, my friends, was simple. You can have the righteous and innocent Son of God, or you can have the murderer. What will you do with Jesus? And they chose Barabbas. They chose a murderer over the Messiah. And they screamed for Pilate to have Jesus, who had been declared innocent, crucified. I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but Pilate had already declared Jesus innocent. He not only could have been set free, he should have been set free. The people chose to have Jesus crucified. Pilate chose to let it happen. You know, as you reflect on the events of Easter week, my friends, there were so many poor choices and such a horrible, horrible consequence. Pilate washed his hands to try and declare himself innocent of it, that he had not chosen to crucify Jesus. So at that point, the people cried out, his blood, listen to these words, his blood be on us and our children. They made the most horrible choice that man has ever made, to crucify the Lord of glory. What was the phrase we saw earlier? But God. But God. You see, my friends, it was a true statement. His blood was on them. It was their choice. But because of God, his blood was for them. In Matthew 20:28, Jesus had said, I'm coming to give my life as a ransom. In Matthew 26:28, he said, this is my blood, which is shed for many for the forgiveness of sins. Do you realize, my friends, what this incredible God did? He used their choice against Jesus as a consequence, but not as a consequence against them, but as a consequence for them. In the greatest fulfillment of Romans 8:28 in all history, that all things will work together for good, the one they killed shed his blood for them, that they might be offered a second chance choice to place their faith in him and secure life eternal and forgiveness.